Libra, welcome to your monthly horoscope for March 2024. My name is Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and in this video, I will be going over all of the significant energies you will be navigating for the month of March. Now, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy my content and align with my energy. So let's get right into it. So I have selected a chart for each week to give you a bit of a visual, and I've listed the transits on the left side of the screen for each week. Now, before we get into the energy for March, I want to touch on some of the energies that we've been moving through and kind of moving out of. That last week of February, we had that really intense Mercury Cazimi with Saturn right here in your sixth house of work, health, and daily routine. Now, the sixth house is the labor that you put into the work. So the 10th house is your career, but the sixth house is the work that you do day to day. So your home routine, your work routine, also your nutrition habits, your health, pets, that's if you own a business and you have employees, that's all in the sixth house. So having that, generally when we have a Mercury Cazimi, this is when we have some clarity or insight or epiphany around something. But this time it was with Saturn. So I would love to hear in the comments below how this showed up for you, as this is a very unique transit, and I'm interested to see how this kind of showed up for everyone. Now, this is a very karmic energy. There could have been some karmic endings here with the Mercury Cazimi with Saturn. There could have been some really big realizations of what you're just done with, maybe when it has to do with your routines or work or health habits. Now, also, coming into the month, we're moving off of that North Node Chiron conjunction, which we've all been going through this really intense, almost like healing, where a lot's been coming to the surface, almost like what has been holding us back, we're becoming aware of and being able to kind of move through that and release it and let it go. Now, on March 1st, we're going to have Venus sextile Chiron. So there's really beautiful support coming in for that healing journey. And we're also going to have the Sun sextile Jupiter, which again is beautiful insight and support for even whatever that Mercury Cazimi kind of brought up with the Sun, Saturn, and Mercury. Now, on the 2nd, Venus is going to square Uranus. Now, Venus is currently in Aquarius in your 5th house of romance, passion, pleasure, play, hobbies, interests, children. Everything you kind of enjoy and do for fun is in that 5th house. Forming a square to Uranus can bring some very unexpectedness, especially too because Venus is your chart ruler. So there can be something very unexpected kind of thrown on your path that you're having to address and you're having to navigate. Now, always remember that with squares, it really does bring in opportunity for growth. And for you, because Venus is your chart ruler, there could really be, yes, some hurdles, some unexpected obstacles, but this is bringing in amazing opportunity for personal growth and transformation. Venus also rules that 8th house of psychological healing and transformation, and also money coming in from outside resources and your partner's finances. So it could also have to do with those themes and topics as well. Now, I also too just want to mention that March is going to be the last month with having all planets direct, as Mercury is going to station retrograde April 1st. So we're going to get into that a little bit, but I did just want to mention that you want to be taking advantage of, having all planets direct, really implementing, really setting things in place for the year ahead if you haven't already. Now, on the 8th, we're going to have Mars square Uranus, Mercury conjunct Neptune, and the Sun sextile Uranus. So the 8th is definitely a day that we want to be mindful of. Having Mars square Uranus is going to be pretty big collectively, individually. Again, this can have to do with, money coming in from outside resources, maybe your partner's finances. Mars rules our motivation, willpower, drive. There may be something showing up around children that you're having to address. There could be something showing up around romantic connections or, hobbies, interests, because Mars is in that 5th house. So, but there is, excuse me, but Uranus brings in this very unexpected disruption. So this is a day that we want to, just kind of tread lightly. We don't want to be making any sudden movements, any sudden decisions. And also too, because we have Mercury conjunct Neptune, the direction ahead can seem very confusing or cloudy or unclear. So this really is a day to just kind of sit with it. What we do want to do is kind of lean on on this Sun sextile to Uranus to help guide us through this Mars square to Uranus. Now, on the 9th, we're going to have Mercury entering Aries, which is really going to shift that energy up. You have Aries in your 7th house of relationships. So you could be thinking about relationships at this time. We're also going to have the Mercury retrograde in that 7th house. So there could start to be a lot around you and your one-on-one connections showing up that you're having to address, rethink, reevaluate. On the 10th, we're going to have the new moon in Pisces and Mercury sextile Pluto. So having Mercury sextile Pluto can be, something really transforming mentally, and it could have to do with relationships because you have Mercury in that 7th house. The new moon in Pisces is a great time for you to set intentions around work, health, or daily routine. This is also when we start to enter eclipse season. So the energy is going to start to become quite heavy, and especially for you, because we're going to have the eclipse in Libra in your 1st house. And just to touch on the nodes for a little bit, there is a lot going on between you and your relationships and one-on-one connections. Having the nodes, in that 1st and 7th house, the North node being in the 7th house can actually be bringing in new one-on-one connections, and having the South node, because the North node represents something new, like a new direction, new journey. The nodes are also very fated and karmic. You could be having a lot of karmic connections coming in at this time. The South node represents something from the past or something that we're having to release and let go of. So there's quite a lot going on when it has to do with you and how you connect within relationships. Now, once we get to the 2nd week of March, on the 11th, we will have Venus entering Pisces. Now, we have Saturn in Pisces. So Venus is actually exalted in Pisces. She does very well in Pisces, but having Saturn there is really going to shift that energy, change it up a little bit. So this is where you can be, starting to focus a little bit more on your health routine. Spring is coming, maybe getting back into your, exercising or whatever the case is. This is also where maybe you're focusing a lot more on work or your work routines. Now on the 16th and 17th, we will have the Sun conjunct Neptune. This is a great day for spiritual work, energy work, intuition. This is really great to meditate on this day. Where it can become a little confusing is because it is Neptune. So, when it has to do with decision making and kind of, the direction we're moving in, it can be a little bit cloudy. So this is really a day to just do a lot of energy work and kind of feel, ride the wave. Then we get to week 3, and on the 18th, we have Mercury conjunct the North Node, and this is when we have Mercury entering pre-shadow, because Mercury is going to retrograde back to 15 degrees of Aries, which is going to be right on top of that North Node, which is quite interesting. So there's quite a lot going on with relationships for you, Libra. So you want to start paying attention after the 18th of March. You want to start paying attention to what is showing up for you, your thoughts around relationship, your mindset around relationships, if you're talking to anybody, because this is going to be an energy that you will be in for, over a month, because you'll, whatever shows up in the pre-shadow period when Mercury's retrograde, we're rethinking that, we're reevaluating, and then once Mercury goes direct and we're in that post-shadow period, that is when we start to gain clarity around whatever we were rethinking and whatever was showing up for us. So you want to start paying attention on this day to, kind of what's showing up. Now, on the 19th and 20th, we're going to have the Sun enter Aries. So the Sun's going to enter your 7th house. This is when we start a brand new astrological new year. This is a great time to set intentions and goals for the year. We also have Mercury conjunct Chiron. So Mercury is going to retrograde over, this North Node and Chiron energy, which we've all been going through, a lot of this healing. There's been a lot surfacing, a lot coming to the surface that we've all been moving through and healing. And this is where there can be, more, I don't know if I want to say insight around that, but more thoughts, more intuitive downloads, maybe a shift in mindset. On the 21st, we will have Venus conjunct Saturn. So Venus is your chart ruler. Conjunct Saturn, there could be something that you're committing to on this day, like maybe deciding, okay, I want to commit to exercising, an hour a day, or eating healthier, whatever the case is. But, Saturn represents commitments, responsibilities. And so this can be a day where you take on more commitment and responsibilities. Then on the 22nd, we will have Mars entering Pisces. And this is going to shift the energy up a little bit. Now, Mars rules our motivation, willpower, and drive, how we take action. Mars being in that sixth house in Pisces, it is going to shift the energy. Mars being in Pisces can make it a little bit more challenging to kind of get that motivation, willpower, and drive. But having kind of Mars in that sixth house can be giving you that extra motivation to, help you with those commitments or exercising or nutrition or whatever that case is, whatever those changes are in that area of life. And then we get to the 25th of March and we have the full moon lunar eclipse in Libra right here in your first house. So you do want to be checking your personal birth chart to see where your personal planets and points are, because you're going to feel this, intense regardless. But if it's on top of your ascendant, it's going to feel more potent and more powerful. So check your personal birth chart to see where you have your ascendant. This full moon lunar eclipse in Libra is going to be at 5 degrees. Now, I want you to think back to October of 2023. What was showing up for you? This could be psychologically, this could be emotionally, mentally. It's that first house. So this really does have to do with you and your direction, what you want, what you need, the direction you're moving in. What was showing up for you back in October? This could also be with you in partnerships. There's more to that story coming in. I look at the nodes take about 18 months to transit the signs, each sign that they're in. And every time we have an eclipse, it's like new energy and changes coming in for that story that is playing out. So whatever was kind of initiated with the solar eclipse in Libra, there's more to that story. This can also be a culmination point, something you're done with, something you're finished with that you no longer want, or that you no longer, even aspects of yourself that you're just done with, maybe things that have held you back in some way. This could be a time where you're becoming extremely aware of those, parts of yourself that have been holding you back and that you're done with. Now, on the 27th, we will have Venus sextiling Uranus. So this is bringing in some unexpected support for you. And again, we're still in eclipse season because we're going to have the North Node solar eclipse in Aries on April 8th, which I'll get into in next month's forecast, but also in the other videos that I post, I'll talk about that. But that's going to be in your 7th house of relationships. So, March and April, these areas of life are really highlighted for you, Libra. You and what you want and the changes you're moving through, and your partnerships or new partnerships forming, or partnerships, a new direction that you're taking within partnerships. So I hope that this helps you navigate the energies for March. Thank you so much for joining me. I would love to hear in the comments below how some of these transits have shown up for you and your stories. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will connect with you in the next one.